Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy DLloyd, and we are here breaking down who I believe are the top teams in the Western Conference. Of course, this is still pre-recorded. I am recording this video on July 14th, so maybe a trade happened, maybe some more free agent signings happen. I'm not quite sure. I am recording this July 14th. It is a Saturday. Of course, I am on vacation, but I'm going to be breaking down who I believe as of right now are the best teams in the Western Conference. Summer League is just about over. We've seen a lot of the signings, a lot of the major signings that are going to happen have already went down. So I'm going to break them down starting at number 15 and who I think are the worst teams technically in the Western Conference. Number 15 is the Sacramento Kings. That's right. I have the Sacramento Kings dead last in the Western Conference. I like what they're building for in the future. I just don't think they're quite ready for prime time. I don't think they're going to make a significant jump in terms of wins this season. I do like them, just don't think they really improved that much this season. I think it's definitely going to be a process. I think it will happen over time. Like I said, the foundation is starting to be developed. It's starting to be there. Just don't think they're quite ready yet this season. So I do have the Sacramento Kings coming in at 15 in the Western Conference. At 14, we have the Memphis Grizzlies, who I think could be a okay team. Don't have a promising core, young core that the Sacramento Kings have, but I still like it. I like Jaren Jackson Jr. a lot as well. So I have the Memphis Grizzlies at 14. At 13, the Phoenix Suns. I think they will be a team to be reckoned with 2 to 3 seasons from now. I don't think they're going to make that leap this season. I love DeAndre Jordan. Of course, Devin Booker is there. They have some more young guys there as well. I just don't think they're ready right now to be in the playoffs or maybe even have a playoff hunt. I think they'll be a solid team, though. Of course, Western Conference going to knock them down. If they were in the East, they'll have a little bit more easier road trying to make the playoffs. Just don't see it happening at all this season for the Phoenix Suns, but I do love them 2 to 3 years down the road. Love the offseason signings for Phoenix. Just don't think they're ready yet this season. Number 12, we have the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks, I think they got a lot better. They got a big man in DeAndre Jordan. They're able to sign Luka Doncic. We'll see exactly what he could contribute, but at least on paper, or what I could imagine for the Dallas Mavericks, I think he's going to be a pretty good component to that offense. I think he's going to complement Dennis Smith Jr. a lot as well. So I do have the Dallas Mavericks at 12. They don't make the playoffs, but I think they're a pretty good team moving forward as well. I like some of the moves that they have made. At 11, I have the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, the Clippers, they are a team that could potentially try to sneak into that 8th spot. I think there's just a few teams ahead of them that will do it. I think it'll be a close race, literally between 11 of the Clippers and maybe even 7 or 8 who I have. I think it's going to be a very, very close race as those teams are going to try to battle into the playoffs. The Clippers, though, I have them on the outside looking in. I don't think they'll quite get there. I'd like him a lot. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, like I said, I think he's the best point guard in this draft class. So I like what they have. Just don't think they're going to make the playoffs this season. At 10, have the New Orleans Pelicans. I think the loss of DeMarcus Cousins is going to hurt. But I think the loss of Rajon Rondo is going to hurt them a little bit more than the loss of DeMarcus Cousins. Now, Rajon Rondo, he's a floor general. He knows a lot. A very smart player. He is a guy who they will miss. He plays defense. He passes the ball. He distributes it fine. I don't think they bounce back without him. I know they made some noise in the playoffs without DeMarcus Cousins, and I think that could still have been the case if they were able to keep Rajon Rondo. I do think he's that big of a piece for the Pelicans, and that's the reason why I bumped him down to 10 so far this season. At number 9, unfortunately, I don't have them making the playoffs this time around, but it is the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Minnesota Timberwolves, on paper, you wouldn't see them dropping out of the playoffs because they really didn't do anything to hurt. They also really didn't do too much to help them this year. But that tension in that locker room, it is still there. We don't know if Jimmy Butler's ever going to sign that extension or not. Possibly he could be moved. I'm not planning that in right now when I'm coming up with these lists of these top teams. But there's still that tension in that locker room. And for Minnesota, I can see them taking a tiny step back. And it's not so much them. I think they'll take that small step back. Some other teams have gotten better. and that's the reason why I have the Minnesota Timberwolves falling to number 9 as opposed to making the playoffs. So now we are here at number 8, and these teams, of course, are all making the playoffs in my playoff bracket, at least right now, just after Summer League and after the main part of free agency is over. At number 8, I have the Denver Nuggets sneaking into the playoffs this year around. I like the moves and the addition of Isaiah Thomas. I think that's actually going to help out the Denver Nuggets. Now, we don't know the role IT will have with Denver yet. We don't know exactly what's going to happen with that backcourt. But what we do know is Isaiah Thomas, he will be motivated. So even if he does come off the bench, you have a potential 15 to 18-point score coming off of the bench and playing about 20-plus minutes per game. If he gets into the starting lineup, maybe he can produce a little bit more. I don't expect Michael Porter Jr. to play, or if he does play this season, I don't think he'll have a huge impact. So I'm not really favoring him as to the reason why they're 8. I like some of the other moves that they have made. And I think just as a team, another year together, I think they'll take that step forward. I think they'll develop a little bit. So I do have them sneaking in at number 8. Unfortunately, I don't see them making any noise in the playoffs. Now, at number 7, as of right now, I have to predict they're going to have Kawhi Leonard. And if they do, I have the San Antonio Spurs coming in at number 7. They can still potentially make the playoffs without Kawhi. But right now, like I said, I can't predict if they're going to move him or not, or how motivated Kawhi Leonard is going to be. But I have to trust in Greg Popovich, have to trust in the San Antonio Spurs organization. And from what I've seen, even without Kawhi, the Spurs are still a decent team. They're not the worst team. They're not the best team, but they're okay. Kawhi Leonard could definitely bump them into the playoffs if he's able to play more than just 9 games. So I have him at 7. Like I said, don't really know what Kawhi is going to do. I don't think nobody does know what's going to happen with that situation. But the Spurs, I think they'll be able to get the job done. And as of right now, at least, I have them at number 7. Now, at number 6, we're rocking with the Utah Jazz. Yes, I have the Utah Jazz at 6. I think for Utah, you have Donovan Mitchell. That is always going to be a plus. I think him coming back is going to be great for Utah. However, I think some of the coverages are going to change a little bit on Donovan Mitchell, and I think they take a tiny step backwards. Still going to be an extremely competitive team. Remember, this is the Western Conference, so all these teams, very good teams. I just don't see them improving too much, and I don't see them really getting out of the first round this year unless they get, of course, an easy matchup, just because I think some things will change. I think Donovan Mitchell's still going to be a future superstar, though. I just think for the Utah Jazz, they fall to 6. I think they're going to have an okay season, but I think 6 is still going to be that spot for Utah. Really didn't progress none. Really didn't drop back any, but they're going to stay steady at number 6. Now, I have the Portland Trail Blazers coming in at 5. For Portland, a lot of people I see start having them around 3, maybe 4. I don't quite think they reach the 3rd seed or the 4th seed as of now. You still have, of course, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum. That backcourt, crazy. Front court, a little bit better, but it's still up and down, inconsistent, can help. Sometimes it doesn't help. But you have a fantastic backcourt with the Portland Trail Blazers. I have them at 5, not because they did anything, like I said before, but some other teams, I believe, have gotten a little bit better. So they kind of leapfrogged the Portland Trail Blazers. I think they're kind of stuck in that land where you're not going to get out of the Western Conference. At some point, you got to make a decision as whether or not you want to trade one of these 2 pieces that you currently have. Of course, I'm not orchestrating this list based off of trades, but I think at some point for Portland, you need to do something because you are in that spot where you really don't have a lot going for you, and you're already kind of plateaued and peaked off. And you have to make another move, or you have to go into a rebuild and try to build something different than what you currently have. But for Portland, we have them at 5. Now, this one was tough at number 4, but I'm going with the Los Angeles Lakers. We're going with the Lakers at 4. It was very, very tough between 4 and 3, but we're going to put LA here. I just need to see what these young guys could do with LeBron James. You never really bet against LeBron. We know he has proven year in and year out he could take an inferior team and they could make some noise and get to one of the higher seeds in the conference. But he's always done it in the East. We're now here in the Western Conference. There's just a few teams who are tougher without a doubt. But the Lakers, I think they're going to be a very, very fun team to watch. I think they're going to be better than expected this season. I think the Lakers are building this roster together, and I think it has the opportunity to be a very, very good roster. So I do have the Lakers at 4. Then, of course, you have LeBron James. Anytime you have that combination, young guys who have potential, LeBron James, something can happen, and that's the reason why I'm putting them at number 4. Number 3, the team that just barely got the nod over the Lakers was the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, this is an addition by subtraction. I like them moving on from Carmelo Anthony. Most people might think Carmelo Anthony leaving may hurt them. I think it's actually going to improve the OKC a little bit in terms of their offensive flow and on the defense side of the ball. Of course, you get Roberson back. That's always going to help. Granted, he can stay healthy this year. That's definitely going to help because when they lost Roberson, definitely impacted the team last year. But moving on from Melo, you now have your clear-cut 1 and 2 scoring options, of course. And then you have the addition of Nerlens Noel. I think he'll help out a little bit as well. I really, truly think Oklahoma City Thunder got better by moving on from Carmelo Anthony. Sounds crazy, but I truly believe that, and I have them at 3. I almost thought about putting in LA here, but we're keeping OKC here for now. I'm going to give them the nod. Another year under the belt, playing together, that chemistry should be there, and hopefully they can take that step forward. At number 2, going with the Houston Rockets, of course, I think they regressed. I don't think they're the same Houston team as last season. At this point, I'm assuming they're going to hold on to Clint Capella. I think they'll be able to work something out. I think Clint Capella will return. But for Houston, I just don't think they did enough this offseason to truly get better. A lot of the moves, kind of bench guys, rotational pieces. But I think losing Luke Mbah-a-Moute, that's going to hurt. Trevor Ariza, that's going to hurt as well. And I'm assuming they'll bring in Carmelo Anthony. If that is the case, I don't really think he helps them too much. So Houston, I think they did take a small step back. But the talent that they currently have, and then James Harden, and of course Chris Paul, you're going to be the second best team in that conference. And then, of course, without a doubt, the best team in the Western Conference is the Golden State Warriors. You added Boogie Cousins. Of course, he's not going to play to the end of the season. I don't think he'll be back until January, maybe February. But that's why Golden State took that risk and bringing them in for only $5 million. But you know, for Golden State, they don't have to rush in DeMarcus Cousins. Then when he comes back, you can now start to figure out how to implement him into the system and get him pretty much ready to go for the playoffs. Because that's all Golden State really worries about. They don't really care about the 1 seed. They don't really care about much else. They want to make sure they're good to go and they're healthy for the playoffs. Now, one thing you do have to worry about from Golden State, and you started seeing this throughout the years, especially last season, is you need to make sure Golden State can stay healthy. If they go through some more injury issues, then you have a few teams who could give them trouble if they go through more injury issues. So I think Golden State during the season won't have the foot on the gas as much because I think they want to definitely make sure they are healthy. But talent-wise and how everything's going to play out, of course, Golden State, I think they're going to be the best team not only in the Western Conference, but I think they'll be the best team in the NBA. But you guys, let me know what you guys think about my list. Of course, feel free to let me know what you guys thought of my list. If it's bad, if it's good, do I have underrated teams, overrated teams? Am I crazy? Am I out of my mind? Let me know what you guys feel about my list in the comment section below. And also, let me know some of your best teams and maybe some of your worst teams in that comment section below as well. It's your boy DLloyd. I'm going to see y'all next time. Peace.